Going on, guys? I'm going to show you what we picked up. Had a guy had these listed online for $25. He was like 30-40 minutes from us, and he ended up actually giving them to us for free, which, you know, I wasn't about to pass that up. It's been 2-3 years since they've ran. This one here is a Echo hedge trimmer. It's got the still has a scabbard and everything on it. It's got the 24-inch cut on it. So that one, said it ran great when it was running. So he thinks it has carb issues. It is missing. It's a hc1600, but it's missing the air cover, which those are still available online. And he said when it ran great. He said just started having problems with it, hung it up in the garage, never dealt with it. The other is that hedge trimmer. It was produced, I'll get into it more when we start working on it, from like 1990 through 2001. But I kind of glanced around online. There's still oddball parts still available for it. The other one is a Ryobi. It's kind of like that, actually I think it's the same model, that tiller we was doing, except for this one it has the, get it to where you can see it, it has the hedge trimmer accessory on it, and the other one we have has the tiller attachment on it, but it's the same, pretty sure it's the same model Ryobi as the tiller. It's just, you know, came with a different attachment. But he was wanting originally, he only wanted 25. Messaged him a couple times, and he told me, if you want them, come and get them, you can have them. And, you know, got there and offered to pay for them. He's like, no. He says, it's my good deed. He says, so here we go. Can't pass up that price. Free is always good. So the one I'm going to mess with these, I actually need a guy I work for on the side. Has great big hedges. He has a hedge trimmer, but his is a, he has a still out there at his place that I use. And it's probably half the size of that Echo, so if it runs good I'll start taking it out there and using it, cut the time down. So I'm hoping it runs good. The Ryobi, I know it definitely needs fuel lines. It had a little bit of gas in it, and I set it down when I first brought it home and had it propped up, and fuel was coming out around the lines on the tank, so it's going to need lines for sure. So that might be part of the problem he was having there. Yeah, he said it was running the same way, running good, and then started running all crappy. Was having issues with it, so I think that's part of the problem there with this fuel system. But we'll dig into them, see what we get. Hopefully they run good, and so I'll definitely need them this spring and summer. And we'll get some stuff set up, and we'll start checking that Echo out. I'll show you guys what we ran into so far. We got it pretty much, for the most part, disassembled. Took the blades and everything off so I could clean them up, check the grease and everything. It's inside here. And the blades were real dull, and it cleaned up some. Got an edge, got the Dremel out, put an edge back on it, so this one's got a good edge back on it. But this one I haven't done yet. You can see this one's not as bad as the other one, but if I can get it in the light where you can see it, the blade areas are just covered in appears to be tree sap. So I have to get an edge on that one. This one's pretty much done. It cleaned up pretty good for the most part. I mean, it's got a little bit of rust on it, but I don't have a sanding disc for my drill where I'd run it over it just to, you know, just to knock all that off. The carb is shot, which is the problem he was having. There's the lower, the diaphragm. You can see where it's all busted up in there. So it's no wonder he wasn't running for him. The primer is rock hard. It won't even collapse it whatsoever. And so the carb definitely needed a rebuild. A rebuild kit for this was $10, and that was just for the basic gaskets for it. And it wasn't including the primer ball, fuel lines, nothing like that. The fuel lines were they're rock hard. So they definitely need to replace. Now, it was just for the gasket set, you was looking at $10 with shipping. So I've done some digging around, found a full upgrade kit, brand new carb, and which, you know, for the same exact model of, you know, for this Echo. So you got the new carb, new fuel line set up for it, and spark plug air filter, both gaskets for $19. Shipped through Amazon. Had it in 2 days. So we'll have to get all that before I can get that on there. I got to get the blades and everything all cleaned up, get the cover back on. You got to be real careful. You don't want to knock these underneath this grease right here. There's another smaller gear, but so you don't want to knock this out of alignment. So if you take one apart, you want to get it to where it's like it would be just like a timing mark on a like a car or something you was working on. If you was dealing with timing, you want to get it to where everything points pretty much straight, and do your best to leave it that way. And you know, so you just don't want to screw it up. Is what I'm trying to say. Because it can throw everything out of sync. Is what I'm trying to, the point I'm trying to make. So I'll get the blade cleaned up, get this back together, and then we'll start messing with the fuel system on it. The muffler seems to be in pretty good shape. Everything was clean. Nothing's clogged. The screen, yeah, here's the screen. The screen's still good and, you know, clean, just old looking, but it's not plugged. And I'll show you the fuel system on it once I get it. I don't want to flip it over with without everything else being hooked up, but this has that rubber grommet that sets in there. Shouldn't be too bad to replace. There's the fuel filter. Or no, this is actually the breather for the tank. It actually sticks up through there. I'll show you that when we get to it. There's the filter. So it's a pretty basic setup. And I'll get back to getting this bottom half put back together. And then we'll pick up at the fuel system. And hopefully here soon we'll be able to get this dude fired up. Oh, it came with, kit came with 2 extra primer balls too. So that made it nice. It's well worth the money. Alright, I'm going to get back to this, and then we'll get back to doing the fuel and the exhaust. Alright, we got the blades back on, cleaned up, hooked up. Decent edge on them, so now we're going to fight with the fuel lines. The problem I got is in the kit that they sent me, the 1500, 1800, and was it 1400, I think they all call for the same carb, but they have some different hookups. This is the one that was on the tank. It just has 2 inlets on it, and I got this one in so far. This is for the return from the primer. This is the one that they sent. It has 3 in it, but the breather on the one we're working on actually drops down to the top of the tank right here, so it's in good shape. It's still flexible, so I'm not going to mess with it. So I got to get the fuel line. Make sure you guys can see it. Get the fuel line in. I put a little bit of 2-cycle on it, so I'm hoping if it did like the other one, should hopefully slide in, but of course it's going to fight with me, so I may have to angle, put a cut on, you know, an angle on it just to get it started in a hole. But then it should go. I know the return line, it fought with it at first, then it finally went. But I'll try that. I'll see what I get, and I'll be right back. It worked. You can see there, it had to cut it at an angle, got it through. Once it started, I just used a pair of hemostats to pull it on through. So that's got to get it long enough to where it's going to access the carb and still have enough to, you know, lay across the tank. And so I have to clip that off, make it flush. So we're good with it. Now the part I'm worried about is getting this back into the tank, because when it goes through, this is where the, you know, it sets in like this. So let's take a little bit of 2-cycle here. Get some on my thumb a little bit. It should help us get it in there. Yeah, God, I hope. Should, I hope. Just hoping I don't crack the tank. This one, it's still in usable shape. It's a little bit on the hard side, but the problem I got is the only thing I really had to put it in there with is a screwdriver. So I'm thinking we might be better off. This is a first for me on doing one this style. I think we might be better off putting the rubber grommet in there in the tank first and then feeding the lines through it. But the problem I got is, may not be so bad with the return line, is trying to feed your main fuel line from the inside of the tank, you know, going this way, trying to get it to come out. So I'm going to try to see if maybe if we take that one out, it's enough to get it to go in. And it's not looking like it. Alright, yeah, it'll come off. So I think I'm going to have to fight with this thing. Get the grommet to go in, and then feed the lines in, and do it that way. Keep me, because I'm afraid of where it's older. You know, this thing's got a few years on it, and I'm afraid of busting the tank on it, and end up having to buy another tank, which would suck. Because I'm trying to keep from putting as much money into it as I can. So I'll try that, and we'll see how it works out. Alright, finally got it. Jumped ahead a little bit. Easiest way to do it was I went ahead and put the lines back in like it was before, and just fought with the grommet to get it in. I just started on the other side and the bottom, and used a bigger flathead and just kept, you know, working it and working it and working it, you know, around the side and around the side and the bottom, working it around, and finally got it to where it would pop in. And with carburetor and everything off of it, you can actually, the rubber grommet, you can like turn it. So if you got a side that's fighting with you and you can't get it to go, you can turn it a little, get it to pop in, and you can straighten it up and get it to where you need it. So it wasn't really that bad once I figured it out, but I wouldn't pop the grommet out unless you had to. But so we got the new fuel lines on it, new fuel filter, new spark plugs in it. The carb is finally hooked up. I had to switch the 2 screws. Apparently one's just like a 2 or 3 excuse me, 2 or 3 threads longer than the other one, and so I had to switch them, get them back in here. So the carb's on. The 2 studs here for the handle. I gotta find, I probably have to go to Home Depot, take it with me up here to get some nuts. The nuts that the fella I got it off of, the handle sets like this here. It would wobble like that because the nuts he had on it weren't to it, and wouldn't hold it tight. These have a little spot down in them where it lines up. It would help hold them tight. See, you know, you can tighten it down, but the ones that were on it, they'd only go down like 2 threads, and that was it. And would leave a bunch of play in the handle. I mean, it worked. Apparently it works. He said he used it like that, so we'll see. So that's really about the only thing that's left. I mean, once you get the top on, and get the 2 nuts for the, I guess I could show you. There we go. Here they are. So these here these 2, yeah, I got to get nuts for them, washers and nuts for them to hold the handle tight. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this thing will run. But so far it's not been too bad. It was a little bit of a bear getting, when you put the blades and everything back together. There's this one here. Getting a nut to start on it was kind of a challenge without taking everything, fully disassembling everything. I was trying to avoid that, but if you have everything fully disassembled, of course everything's going to go back together easier, but I was trying to avoid all that little work as possible. But the blades turned out pretty good, so I'm happy with them. They're not the cleanest, but they got a nice edge on them now. And you got to remember these cut both ways, so you got each one of these. You have a blade on each side, top and bottom. So you got to sharpen one. I had to use a dremel. I couldn't buy a flat file with shot, and found a good deal on a dremel kit, so used it on it. But I prefer a flat file. I like doing it by hand instead of with a dremel like that. But we're not far from going out and trying to get it fired up, so I think the only thing I'm lacking now is put the top back on, get those two nuts, and we'll throw some fuel in her and see what happens, man. So when I get those nuts and stuff where I am, we're still missing. I got the kit came with a new air filter, but it's missing the cover. He couldn't find it, so we'll get it fired up, and that's the last thing I'm worried about. I found those online. They're anywhere from like $8 or $12, depending on where you buy them from. Come with the cover and the wing nut. So I get all that figured out, we'll take it outside and try to fire it up. Alright, here we go. Finally got time to where we can see if this Echo is going to run. We got the new carb on it, new fuel lines, new fuel filter. Cleaned it up some fresh fuel. Got the blades sharpened up. I did on the blades back the nuts off a little bit. That's right, I had them torqued too tight. So I have to went to get on Echo's website and see if I can find an actual torque setting for those, a recommendation. So we'll see if she'll fire up. And I got the two nuts. Went to the Home Depot and got nuts for the handle, so it's good and solid now. I still got to order the air filter cover. So this one, the primer's on the bottom. Looks like it's starting to suck up fuel. Yep. All right. On. See what we get. Oh man. Maybe not. Who knows? Hopefully it runs. Oh, dang. No, she's turning over awful hard. Let's try this, just in case it ain't sucking it up. Throw a little bit of fuel down its throat. If I can get it in the carburetor. I think I got some. It was getting spark. Play with the carb a little bit. Looks like it's going to need a adjustment, which even though it's new, you run into that. So hopefully it'll start back up, and we'll all you need is a flathead screwdriver. Come on. Maybe not. Try priming her. Come on. Alright. Let's do it the easy way. Whoo! Give her just a little more. Try giving her a little bit of juice. That probably was too much. It looked like quite a bit. Oh, come on now. Ugh. Oh, not bad, huh? So we'll check in the nuts. I mean, it seems to be all right, but I'll definitely get on Echo's site and see if they have a recommended torque setting on there. But yeah, it runs good, man. Free. Can't complain about that. I think runs good. So that, and he gave me that Ryobi one with it, so I'll probably get rid of it though. This one's the only one I need. It's got the 24, I think the span is 24 inches on the blade, and so that'll be a big improvement on some of the stuff I do on the side during the summer, spring and summer. And it's one we use. I mean, here's some big hedges that we trim on, and the one we use is a steel, and it's probably about right here. And some of the hedges that we have to trim up, and they're a basket case to try to reach across, so this would be a big improvement. I'll definitely have to see about getting the air filter cover, which it wasn't bad. It was, what is it, like 11 bucks or something like that. I think it was like $11 for a cover, and has a, I can see why they're easy to lose. The one I was looking at, it was OEM, it was $11, and then the only thing that holds it on is a wing nut. But I don't know, that's a win, man. Free, all it needed was a carb, so, which wasn't bad. I wish I could have went a little more into detail on this with you guys, but wrestling with that basement and then long hours at work, it was kind of hard to, but it was, I think the hardest thing with doing this was, I don't know, maybe the grommet for the fuel lines, but like I was saying with this one, it's the first time I've ever done one with a fuel system this style. But with that grommet, if I can get in there, I was afraid when I was doing it, I was afraid of splitting the tank using a screwdriver, but it wasn't that bad. I just had to get the inside towards the engine casing and the bottom, got it started first, and then of course it wasn't this screwdriver, it was a bigger, thicker flathead, and then started working my way around it. And without the fuel lines in the grommet, you're able to turn it some, and turn it and go like that. And then the grommet that came with the kit was a 3-line style. This one takes a 2-line, because the breather for the air comes up through the back of the tank and sets underneath the cover. And the one that came with it, it had the 3 that came out, but we couldn't use it, but everything still worked. So that's definitely a win, man. Thanks for watching. I definitely appreciate it. And since the Echo label was gone, well, it wasn't gone, it was split in half with a little piece missing, we went ahead and put one of our very own on it. So it's a win. Hopefully that Ryobi will be a win. And the carb setting on it, I wasn't thinking about it, but on this one, because the carburetor is actually on this one upside down. Instead of your primer being on top, it's on the bottom, so it wasn't dawning on me doing the fuel adjustment that you got to turn the adjustment screws here. You got to turn them the opposite way. So I was trying to, when I went to turn them to adjust the fuel in it, I was actually shutting it off instead of increasing it, which it needed turned up. So now it runs fine. And that'll be it, man. Thanks for watching, guys. It's a Echo hc1600 24-inch bar on the teeth. And if you ever have to replace these nuts for this handle, you have a big one and a small one. The big one they're both metric, and they have a funky pitch to them, but the back one is like it's a M5 or something like that, and I think the front one, the larger one, is an M8. And they have the Home Depot. It's like both nuts, a couple lock washers was like $1.89, so couldn't go wrong there. But thanks for watching again, and I appreciate it. It's definitely a win on this one. Couldn't beat it for free, so I got, I don't know, $25 maybe wrapped up in it, 26, something like that, and hopefully it'll last me a long time. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember, share, subscribe, trying to get the channel to keep on growing. And always enjoy all the comments I get and all the watches. So y'all have a good weekend.